Hello,
Hello.
hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Did I say welcome, Paul?
You certainly did, yes.
Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Caroline Crawford.
And I'm Paul Crawford.
This is the Live Lounge. Now, we're so thrilled to be with you this evening. You're so glad that you're here with us. Christine is going to be joining us a little later, live from her lounge in Arcadia. And the other little thing that we're changing this show is we're going to trim down the time. So we're working from an hour down to 40 minutes. Now, this is where we're going to really value your feedback, you lovely live loungers. So if you could message us either through the website, which is
SoulCrew.biz,
or on Messenger, or whatever way you usually contact us, we'd really appreciate that. We have a great show planned for you. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics of all time.
Yes.
That thing that's a part of absolutely everything. The stars, the planets, the universe, you, me, us.
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that is what we're going to be talking about on the show. We're going to explore more about it on this vast subject.
Yes, and it's as vast as the universe.
It is.
You don't get bigger.
No. And then later we're going to be sharing some energetic exercises for you to help you to feel uplifted, to feel more chilled out in that zone, to feel more relaxed and calm, and really help you reconnect to your higher self and those infinite energies that are a part of your being, not just some of us, all of us. So we aim to leave you feeling chilled, relaxed, calmer and more balanced.
Yeah, definitely.
So on with the show. So we're talking about energy, vibration, frequency, healing, how it affects us, how it affects you, how it affects the planet, especially at this time as well. So Paul, what's your little opening take on energy?
Okay, well, for me, energy, I mean, I've always felt energy and sort of interacted. I've never really thought a great deal about what it actually is. I just kind of accepted it for the wonderful energy, well, no pun intended, the wonderful energy that it is. But then I started to read up a little bit on it. And when you start looking at quantum physics and the quantum physicists, when they started looking at it, and rather than looking at the world in split realms, as in the material world and the energetic world, they started looking at the atom, and they started splitting the atom down more and saying, right, well, what is the atom made of?
I remember that on TV when they discovered all these new things about the universe. You know, it might have been the same time that the world was found out to be round and not flat. So,
but in essence, you've got neutrons, protons, and electrons,
atoms,
and that's what was made up when they split the atom down.
Right.
And then when they started looking further into, well, what are they made up of? And they started measuring things down to the minutest form of measurement, which I understand is they refer to as a Planck measurement.
Planck, or a Planck. Depending on your accent.
Yeah. Now, when they were doing that, they were finding that there was just an energy vortex. So at the core, the basic core of an atom was this energy vortices. And in essence, they were saying that this energy, the physicists refer to this as the quantum field, the field. Or Einstein actually used to call it the field. So in essence, the energy is, the whole field is just energy. And everything is connected.
So it isn't just space here that we think is empty, is it? Everything
is connected.
It holds the stars up in the universe, brings planets into their alignment. I mean, it's just completely fascinating. But as energy affects us, I always think that, I say to people, try and think of your energy field rather like the internet. So we're a physical body here and now, and we're vibrating, and we have a range of different emotions, which we have through thinking certain thoughts, but we also have a soul and a spirit that is vibrating at a higher level. But we can access that by meditation, by being still, by spending time in nature. And so like the internet, although there's this world wide web, when you click on a certain thing, you access a lot more information about whatever subject it is that you're researching. And it's the same with the human spirit in a way. You know, we tap in and we tune in through becoming quieter, by becoming more in alignment and in attunement with our true vibration, that of our true self, of our true nature. And that connection is always much clearer if we're calm, relaxed and at ease. As soon as we're anxious, or we're tense, or we're angry, or we're frustrated, you know, this all causes rather like internet interference. It connects, it creates interference in our energy field. So this is why some people say, oh, I've tried meditation, but you know, it's like anything, it's got to be built up. You need to do it on a regular basis, and then it really does help with a healing process. If we're feeling anxious, if we're feeling uncertain, you know, particularly with what's going on in the world today, you know, a lot of people are saying they're not feeling safe, they don't even want to go out. But when you try and really instill this sense of truth and calm within yourself, then your confidence grows, and then you're able to live a much fuller life, live much more from your true self. You know, and people say, don't you know, people that you love being around them because they're upbeat, they're positive, they're happy. It might be they're caring, they're wise, and you want to be around those sort of people. But somebody on the other hand, you know, if they're very negative or very down, we just try and keep a little bit of a wide berth, unless they're going through a difficult time. And then obviously, you know, I think we make allowances for that. But this energy is very much generated from the thoughts we think, and we have a choice over those thoughts. And when we meditate and draw on those energies of our soul, of our spirit, of our higher consciousness, because that's what everything is in the universe, is consciousness, then we can start to live a life with greater freedom, greater confidence, abundance and joy and grace and fun, you know. So it really is about tapping in to that, you know. And can I just say one more thing? I've wanted to share this for so long. During a meditation some years ago, I just got this real insight, and it really made me think, and it might make you think. You might think it's a load of rubbish, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So I'd meditated and I was just coming to, and I just got, nothing exists outside of consciousness. Nothing exists outside. And I was like, wow. I said to Paul, the vastness of that thought, of that image, just really blew my mind. And that's how meditation, you know, when we do it regularly, you know, because people even say to us, why are you always upbeat? You know, we're not always, I can assure you of that.
I have my moments.
Yeah, but that meditation, it clears your energy field, it cleanses your energy field, it boosts and enhances your, and strengthens the connection to what we truly are, which is energy.
And I think with consciousness is just an energy. A lot of times we think of consciousness as this physical form. But the quantum physicists would actually tell you to say that really there is no form, there's no matter.
No.
That it's all an illusion, it's all just energy. And the energy then creates the illusion of matter. Because at our core, if you take it down to its smallest part, we are just energy. So everything in existence is energy.
And how we affect that is very dependent on the thoughts we're generating as well, because our thoughts generate energy. Our energy sends out a signal to the universe, and that vibration, that signal, then the universe responds and reflects back to us. So if we're strong, positive, thinking prosperous, abundant, good thoughts, then this is going to be reflected back. It's a law of the universe. But if, on the other hand, you know, we've all been through these times, if we feel anxious, if we feel uncertain, if we feel a victim, if we feel wounded, we're going to keep seeing things reflected back to us. So I know through my choice what I would rather be experiencing in my life, you know, and that's not to say never have a negative thought, because there's times when we need to cleanse and
I think
move forward.
You have it, but you don't hold on to it. You need to let it go.
Yeah.
And then you can replace it with something more, with a more positive energy, a more positive thought.
Yeah.
But we're actually going to touch more on the power of thoughts next week.
Yeah,
so we'll tell you a little bit.
Week, the next
sorry,
show.
The next show, yeah.
But we'll tell you about that later. So I think we're going to have a little personal stories now, which are a little bit shorter than normal, hopefully. And Paul's going to start the ball rolling with his story on energy, and it is quite an unusual story. It is, particularly for those of you that don't know a lot about Paul's background, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it, because I did.
Okay, so I'm just letting people in at the same time as talking. And as a man, I often struggle to multitask.
You're doing very well.
I am, thank you. But essentially, for me, when we talked about, well, what story can you give about energy? And almost straight away, I just thought of this time. For those of you who don't know, that I do, I channel the energies and the teachings of a spirit guide, a spirit team. They're a spirit, a non-physical, benevolent collective, and it's all about creating a greater unity and an expansion of everybody on the earth, really. So. And I thought, well, where did that begin for me? And when I was in my late teens and I was sitting in meditation, I was feeling the energies, feeling tingling and other aspects. It was this one occasion when we never normally meditate on a Saturday.
We have a day off.
But Caroline said, I really feel we got to meditate today. I really feel something's going to happen. There's a reason for it.
There was a really different feel with the energy. I was a little bit excited and a little bit didn't know.
And I felt a bit excited about it as well. I could feel something. So anyway, in where we lived, we had a treatment and healing room that we also used as our meditation room. And we always told our son, and this will become clear why I'm saying this, we always told our son, never disturb us when we're working or meditating. Yeah,
in that room.
And he never did.
No.
But anyway, this Saturday...
One time he did do as he's told.
We actually went in to start the meditation. And the energy is really very quickly built up, very much stronger. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, there's a knock at the door. And it was our son. So he said, quick, come in, sit down. And so he joined the meditation. And the spirit guide that came through to me was a guide that we shared. It predominantly worked with you, but we were sharing him. And his name was Chibuka. Yeah. And I mean, it was just the energy that I felt as he merged his energies with me was just, it was colossal. And I felt not just the energy, but I felt myself physically growing as well. I felt my thighs expanding, my chest, as if I've been bodybuilding for years.
Yeah, I'm joking. I was saying it's a bit like that film, the program of the Hulk, when he bursts out. It wasn't quite that big, but I could physically see Paul's body sort of almost pumping up is the best way to describe it. The energy and the feeling, the emotion.
And I felt taller, but everything was really amplified. But it was such a loving, and although it was a really strong energy, there was a real calmness to it and a real peacefulness and a real love to it. And Jabuka actually started to speak through me, and that was the first time that they'd actually spoken through me.
Yeah,
I'd received thoughts and messages, but that was the first time.
Yeah.
And from that very first time, they said the world has got to be ready for the teachings, not just from us, but from a lot of individuals, a lot of people.
They actually said you're here on a mission.
Yes.
And the world's got to be ready. And I'll always remember it, because I was just, the feeling you can't explain to people of this immense, magnificent love. And I just had tears streaming down my face, and it was just such an amazing experience. You just can't explain in words, really.
No, but to me, the whole point of why I'm saying this as a story is that everything is an energy, and that is why that process of merging with me was able to take place. And that really, from that moment onwards, I really understood it a lot more, and started thinking that everything is connected, everything is energy, and everything can have an influence on everything else. And then I started to think, well, do you know what? I know I have my moments of being old man grumpy, or young man grumpy as it was then, of just trying to be a lot more positive with how I was as a person.
Yeah.
But for me, that was a real focal point of that immense energy, and an event that was a real milestone in my lifetime.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you for sharing that, Paul.
So what story did you want to share, Caroline?
Yeah, well, my story, I've had to delve back quite a few years. This was in 1996. And I thought it was 96, and I actually Googled something and found it was. I was so pleased with myself, because it was 96. But it was when the war had been in Bosnia, and Sarajevo had finished, and it had been stopped for almost 12 months. And there was a healing organisation known as the Healing Hands Network in the UK that reached out and were really wanting volunteers to go and help rebuild the lives of those people that had suffered dreadful atrocities of war. Honestly, you can imagine, which you don't really want to imagine, but there was, and I felt very fortunate to have been accepted, because I was a registered healer. I'd been a healer for some time, and I felt very fortunate. We had a little bit of specialised training, but mainly that was, don't feel sorry for people out there, because that is disempowering. We need to, give them, and it all worked along the lines of what I was working with anyway. You need to give them strength. You need to give them confidence. You need to show them love, but don't feel sorry for them, because feeling sorry for somebody is disempowering. Yeah, definitely. And they said, don't cry in front of them when they tell you the stories, because I really didn't know what I was letting myself in for, but I did say it was a very positive. But so anyway, I get to Sarajevo, and the first time I went was a real eye-opener. I went as a volunteer, so I raised my own funds to go, and which I say people were very generous, because it'd been on the TV for years, and everybody had been praying for them and lighting candles for them and holding vigils for them. But anyway, so I got there, and it was still such an eye-opener. So first of all, the airport, well, it wasn't really an airport. It was a shell of a building. It'd been bombed out. There were no windows. There was no nice carousel with your luggage going around. It was just thrown in through the window. But the upside of that was you didn't have to wait ages for your case to come, and you just showed your I went straight through. I've never been through an airport so quick in all my life. But as we drove to the house that the charity owned there, again, it was just shocking. All the buildings were bombed out, peppered in with bullets. But the only best way I can describe it, everywhere, it was just like this thick, heavy blanket of grief, of sadness, of trauma, of shock. And you could just feel it. There was no upbeat energy whatsoever. So I went with two other women, and when you got to the facilities where we were working, we actually gave healing in a medical facility there. The people were just so gentle. They were so thankful we were there. And I remember I took every opportunity to say to them, the world really, I'm going to get emotional. The world really cares about you. There are people praying for you. There's people that really care about you, and, you know, becoming well again and building up that energy of your beautiful city, because Sarajevo is beautiful. It's like a basin with mountains all around it. But there were no buses, there was hardly any vehicles. The only vehicles really you saw on the street were on certain corners with the big United Nations, you know, the UN jeeps with the peacekeeping force. So, as I say, I had never experienced anything like it. You didn't see any animals on the street. Everybody was very dowdy, very down because of what they'd been through, obviously. But I felt a great sense of purpose, of being able to do something there that I was able to give. And I know it sounds strange, but I actually really enjoyed it, so much so that I said to Paul, you would love it. You'd be so good out there. And we went again the next year. Now, the second year we went, it was completely different. I'm sure Paul thought I'd exaggerated.
Yeah, but you could still see, like when you come into land, there was still the bombed out airplanes at the side of the runway. They still had a hole in the wall where they threw your case out of, and but the second year there were like buses with actually people on them and that were talking. There was energy. There were people talking to other. There were restaurants, cafes open, bars open. And although it wasn't back to 100%, you know, it was a totally different energy, which was such a joy to experience from the real heavy trauma. Because, I mean, I'm not going to share any stories with you tonight, but I was told stories that will live with me for the rest of my life. But they were such wonderful people, had such huge, generous souls. And beautiful people. The second time we went, Paul and I went together, they also had an outreach project where people that were elderly or disabled that couldn't make it into the medical clinics, we would go and visit. So this elderly couple, they were on, was it the third or the fourth floor flat and or apartment, and we walked in and we had an interpreter with us. So an interpreter came round with us because they didn't all speak English. And we walked in and there was this real sadness, this real grief, and a little bit of tension, a little bit of didn't know what to expect. And so we thought, well, we'll get straight on with the healing. So we gave them both the healing, a lovely couple, a dear sweet man and his wife. And then when we sat down, they sort of looked a little bit more upbeat, not upbeat, but not as had a different tense. So the interpreter said to us that it had made them feel really good, that they really enjoyed it. And they explained their story. They'd had two sons, both grown up. One had been killed in the war. And the other one, he was lucky enough to get out of the country before it got bad. He was actually a doctor and he went to Canada. But the sad thing was they hadn't heard from him for nearly 6 years because of the war going on. And there was obviously no communication. But anyway, they started to talk to us, and then the atmosphere did change, and they told us about when the Olympics had been held in Sarajevo, and that it was a really good energy, was really happy and party vibes, and they, you know, everybody was just so happy, and they felt so honoured to be hosting the Olympics in their beautiful country, because I said it really is a beautiful place. And so we were like, really enjoying that story. It was time to leave. So we thought, oh, good, we're leaving on a happy note. And as we left, interpreter, we could hear them whispering. They called us back and they held out this mascot that they'd been given. Only certain Sarajevos had been given for helping out at the Olympics. And they wanted to give it to us. And we were like, no, this is yours. This is something really special. They said, no, you've been so good to us and you've touched our hearts and we want you to have it, please. And it's the first time that I thought I could feel myself welling up, and Paul, and I looked at him and we were all like, and I was thinking, don't cry. So we accepted it with such grace. But they said that,
you know, it had really helped them through their trauma. But what I felt, the story that I wanted to come out of that story to share with you was the energy of the human spirit. These people had known nothing, hadn't been shown any love, they'd been traumatized, they'd suffered real bad atrocities, and they still had that huge, generous spirit that they wanted to give anything they could do. And I just felt, you know, that's the human spirit for you, the energy of the human spirit, to always be able to give in a way that's meaningful to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they looked at it in terms, they called it bioenergy.
Yes, they did. They understood what it was.
Yeah, so it was nice, and the fact that they could feel it, and they looked at the whole city in terms of the different energies at the different times.
Yeah, they did. And we're still in contact with a few people there. And you know, people moan about Facebook, but our friend still kept a friend, and it's lovely seeing this lady that I kept in touch with, Swada. She's traveling the world with her son. Her husband passed away, not due to the war, but because we'd met them. And, you know, it's just lovely to see that their lives are really full of, you know, a lot more prosperity and joy now. So,
but it was, you know,
helping one another. I think reaching out to one another through the human spirit is the best thing we can do.
I think that was a real eye-opener in terms of, we were giving what of ourselves and of the energies of the universal energies for healing. But what we got back from them, the energies that they had, it was just a wonderful, loving thing.
Yeah. So it's time of the show. In a moment, we're going to go over to the lovely Christine in Arcadia. And Christine's going to be sharing with us some insights into energetic healing through sound. And then later on, we're going to be sharing, all of us, some exercises to cleanse and boost your energy field, help you reconnect. And we'll also be asking you to send in any questions. And remember to give that feedback on the change format of the show as well. And again, Paul will just quickly tell you how to type those questions in if you want to send them in the chat box.
Okay, I know a lot of you have already heard this, but for those who haven't, depending on what you're using, there's a row of icons either along the bottom or the top, and there's a little bubble, like a speech bubble, and it actually says chat. So click on that, a chat box appears. You can type in the message window, hit the return or the enter button, and it pops up on screen for us to see. And we can interact with you.
Okay, so we'll go over to Christine now, and we'll fill in the rest after the show. So hello, Christine. So how are you?
Doing great, and I am excited to share some wonderful information. We're talking about energy, and one of the many ways energy presents itself is through the energy of sound. And sound is this wonderful tool that we can use for our own rejuvenation, for our healing. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the different types of vibrational energy, and then also just give an example of something that people can use every day that is really simple. It only takes a few minutes. And if you just took a few minutes to do this every day, it can really make some powerful changes in your life. So the first thing like I said, I wanted to mention, just to talk about sound and vibrational energies appear in a lot of ways. You know, one way we think about it is perhaps using instruments, right? When we go to like a bowl ceremony where they have the crystal bowls, or alternatively, they have the Tahitian metal bowls. That's one way where sound can bring forth, you know, healing and rejuvenation. I've used those chimes before. You know, you have those single chimes where you hit them with the mallet. And that's another one. A gong, you know, if you ever gone to a gong type of, you know, healing evening or something like that. So those are the instruments, examples of some instruments that you can use. But then, of course, another vibration is just music in general, like any kind of music. How many of us just play music just to get in a better mood? Right? It's not just the sound, but it's the vibration, vibration. You can dance, we can have a good time. So music itself in many forms, in any forms, you know, turn on your radios, turn on your Pandoras, turn on whatever form you get your music through. Music is a powerful way to enjoy the vibration and the energy of sound. And for me, the simplest one, because this is something you can never get away from, but there's a very powerful vibrational tool that every single one of us has, and that is our voice. So there are a lot of different ways. I'm sure many people have heard of, you know, doing things like, of course, just singing, but other ways other than just singing with your favorite tune, chants, listening to chants and or doing chants. And that's actually what I wanted to take just the last 60 seconds that I'm thinking I have to share with you all. And it's a chant that I learned from one of my teachers. Not really a chant, but really this is to honor the goddess Brahmari. And all it is a bee hum, it's called. So you can do this 2 different ways. The first way is best to do by yourself. And the other way you can do with a group, but it's more powerful with the group if you leave your ears open. So I'm going to explain it to you first, but then I'm going to have you try it. And all it is, does everyone know how to hum? Let's test it. Everyone take a deep breath in. And there's... Now, when you're with a group of people,
that is so cool.
You all do a
We're getting a vibration here.
Yes. Now I wanted you to hear me, and I wanted you all to hear yourselves, because I know some of you are on mute, so you can't, your voice can't be heard in our group here. But when you're in a group of people, we've done this at women's retreats where we all hum together, but everyone just, you run out of breath, but then you just join back in. So it just sounds like one continuous hum. It literally sounds like a beehive. And that's what they call Brahmari. So the one last thing I just want to show you, and something that you can try, is to do that same hum, but everyone plug your ears. Now, of course, you don't stick your finger in your ear, but you take that little bit of cartilage flap that's on the front of your ear.
Okay.
And don't do it yet, but just find that flap. And what you're going to do, hold your fingers there, but don't plug your ears yet. But go ahead and take a deep breath in and do that hum again, but close your ears and feel that vibration in your head and in your body. Ready? Breathe in, plug your ears, hum. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
Now, if you do that hum for like 7 minutes, that's it. And heck, you could do it for just a minute or 2, but they say to do it for 7 minutes, and you just breathe and keep humming. And especially if you do it in a corner of the room, you can try that out, and it's a rejuvenation type of sound healing.
Well, that's fantastic.
So
and you know what? That was louder than I thought it was going to be. And I'm going to find out later. It was louder in one side than it was the other. And I wonder if that's a bit like when you do the yogic breathing, you know, breathing in and out through alternate nostrils. One side is always clearer than the other. So it may be that flow of energy. And yeah, that was fantastic, Christine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just a quick question that I have, Christine, is when we're practicing that, we always close our flaps off when we're doing that.
Flaps.
Our ears. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent.
Thank you so much, darling. You're looking beaming in energy. Obviously done you really good. Christine's had a little vacation. Well, we'll speak to you soon. Love you. Okay, so thank you, Christine. Over to Paul, who's going to be talking about...
I am talking about, really, I want to talk you through a technique for feeling and sensing the energy.
Oh, can't wait.
Okay, so again, it's not a very long process, but if you all would like to just, if you all just like to start by warming up your hands, just rubbing them together, get a bit of heat going, and then just lightly closing your eyes, and then just holding your hands a very short distance apart.
Oh, I already feel tingling.
And almost start pulsing your hands together and apart, and feel and imagine as if you've got a golden ball of light between the palms of your hand. And the more that you can just really visualize that, and the more you do this, the stronger you can start feeling that energy of that golden light.
Oh, it's really pulsing in my fingers, and it's just like a resistance, isn't there? Like a magnetic force.
And
I
find it almost like pushes my hands away. But as I come closer, I can feel it feeling a more intensive energy in the palms of my hand. So now, as you can feel that energy building up, I just want you to now just keep your eyes closed, place one hand on your heart and one hand on your abdomen. And I just want you to focus again on the palms of your hand and just visualizing and imagining that golden ball light of energy just emitting from your palms of your hand and going into and filling your whole body on every level, mentally, emotionally, physically. And then just see that energy engulfing you, that golden light engulfing you all the time. And you should now start to feel a greater calmness. You might be feeling a greater heat. You might be feeling a tingling. But ultimately, what that energy is doing, it's working with you on every level, and it's there to help create a cleansing and a clearing, a greater clarity and a greater balance within yourself. And you can do this at any time. It only takes a few moments. So if you'd just like to take a couple more deep breaths, and then opening your opening your eyes, and you'll find that it really helps to connect on a much stronger level to that deeper element of your inner self, your higher self.
Feeling very calm after the humming and the energy. That's lovely. So I'm going to go straight into mine. So you can remain with your eyes closed if you like. We're just going to do a short guided little visualization to help soothe and calm any anxieties, to help you have a really good night's sleep, to help you feel more relaxed and chilled out and in that lovely zone, in the zone. So just begin by keeping those eyes softly closed. If you can, sit nice and straight, feet on the floor, don't cross the hands or legs, and slow your breathing down. So take your attention, if you can, breathe in for the count of 4, hold for 2, and breathe out for 4. So just get that nice rhythm going with the breathing. In for 4, hold for 2, and exhale for 4. Now I'd like you to imagine yourself on a beautiful beach, soft golden or white sand, you're barefoot, and it's the evening time. So there's a lovely, calm, cool energy. The sun's beginning to set over the horizon, and you breathe in that feeling of peacefulness as that energy of the beach just envelops you. And a little way down the beach, you see a huge glistening crystal. It's 6 or 7 feet tall and the same wide. It's a beautiful crystal. And as you get closer, you can see which color it is. Whatever color you feel comes to your mind will be the energy, the vibration that your body and mind needs to come into greater balance. So it could be a pink rose quartz, might be a purple amethyst, it might be green, which is very soothing, or orange is energizing. And as you approach that crystal, imagine just putting the palms of your hands a few inches away from it, and imagine you can feel and sense its calming, soothing energy. Take a deep breath and feel you're connecting to this energy, to this crystal, and you're open to receiving its energy. Know that this crystal is a sacred healing crystal whose purpose is to connect us to our true nature and feel that loving, strengthening, calming energy. So breathe that in as you lay your hands then on the crystal. Feel its smooth, cool surface. And now imagine the energy is completely surrounding and filling you like a soft, gentle mist. Breathing that energy in all the way down to that lower abdomen. As you exhale, feeling your shoulders sinking down, your facial muscles relaxing, your jaw, your lips, nice and relaxed. Whoops, Christine looked like she's going to fall off her chair. So that, I think you are nice and relaxed. So just have a couple more breaths. Feel that you're instilling that sense of peace, calm, and deep loving energy into every cell of your being now. Enjoy those feelings. And we're going to gently come back when you're ready. So I'm just going to go in to the closing part of our show, but please just take your time. Be aware of how you're feeling, the energy, how that feels within you. And thank you so, so much for joining us. We really appreciate that you chose to spend your precious time with us. We really hope you've enjoyed the show. I know we have.
Yeah, definitely.
And hopefully maybe you've discovered a little tool or something that will help you live your life in a more positive and uplifting and calming way. On November the 4th, the show will be all about mastering your life through mastering your thoughts.
And how that energy generates life experiences that can include how you can actually transform scarcity thoughts or scarcity thinking into something much more positive, helping you to overcome those anxious thoughts and have more abundant, peaceful ones instead. So don't miss it. You know, it's going to be great. You're going to get so much out of it.
I can't wait.
And just wanted to say that this live lounge show is always free. But if you would like to make a donation, and you can donate at any time, then go to our website. We have a donate button on there. Hit that donate button. Anything you would love to give to us, just to help support the channel and what the work that we're doing here and spreading that message out of greater love and understanding. So go to our website, which is SoulCrew.biz. And remember that we actually come in here twice a month on the first and third Wednesday of the month. So put that in the diary. We do send emails out, but to make sure that you don't miss us, then you sign up on our website and then you'll get your personal link. And we really look forward to sharing this time with you again.
Oh, we do. We love you.
And if you've got any comments, questions or suggestions that you'd like us to incorporate on the Live Lounge show, then then you can put those onto the website as well. So that's SoulCrew.biz.
Oh, so from the Soul Crew, we wish you a beautiful day wherever you are watching from. We're sending you lots of love from our hearts to yours. We really look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. And from the Soul Crew, bye for now. Mwah. Love you.
Lots of love. Take care.
Look after that energy.
And thanks for our Arcadian correspondent,
Yay,
Christine.
Dean. Bye for now. Woo.